Hi, welcome to One Foot in the Grave. I'm Dan.
I'm Jake. Did you like that intro song? We wrote that.
What?
We wrote that on an iPhone.
Oh, on the iPhone. Yep. Today, I'm drinking Fat Yak, the original pale ale.
Oh, you had that one other time when we were.
It's
I
my
think maybe
favorite
on our old podcast.
It's a fan favorite of mine.
How
early in the morning is it? It's 11:30.
Oh yeah, that's right. The time's different. That's true. That's funny. It's a good time for an IPA. 11:30. You've put in a solid 2 hours of daytime, and now it's time to get drunk and go to bed and lie down because you feel real full.
Well, it's 35 degrees, windy as shit, and I've got the air conditioning on in my bedroom. So
your power will probably go out during this.
I mean, dread room. Oh.
The dread room. So this isn't the first time we've recorded in a month.
No, this is not our first rodeo this month. Well, this month it is. Fucking December, but...
the last episode, you were home. That's how long it's been. But we've recorded twice in the interval since then, and both times...
Well, recorded is a generous term.
We thought we recorded. One time I was in Florida, so I prepared like a really good Florida-related story, and then I don't know what happened.
I think it was your computer.
Broke, or maybe
no.
mine.
Now looking back, I'm pretty sure it was yours because you had the blue screen of death on the last.
No. That was the last time, but that was on my desktop. So I'm back to the laptop this time because my computer failed last time. But I think maybe the Wi-Fi had failed.
There's a myriad. I'm using a very old. The only reason I got this computer that I'm using is to build a website for a jewelry business that I was doing 10 years ago.
I was just thinking about how you haven't changed since you were a little boy, and I was thinking about how when you were in preschool, you decided you wanted to pursue a career in magic. and you went at it for 6 to 9 months, I believe, and then went for something else. But it was like you go through these phases of picking up these side hustles that you get good at, and then you quit.
Yeah. Like, as soon as I try to make it lucrative, it loses its fun.
Yeah, I can't. I find I can't make money at anything other than my primary job. In fact, everything else I do loses.
It's because we have no formal training in anything except for what we do.
That's the problem with being specialized in something that takes 13 years to learn.
Oh,
no. You don't learn anything else.
Oh.
What?
Oh, you cut out there.
Elsewhere?
Yeah.
No. Shit.
That's why you put your penis directly in the anus. What?
Yeah.
Hey, what?
Long story short, I can't go to Disney World anymore. What? So Tim Hortons is a coffee chain here. So the listeners in the States, actually Tim's is in the States too, I think now.
Yeah, it is.
But
it was supposed to come to Australia, but because Burger King bought it, which is Hungry Jack's here. But
no,
it didn't arrive. No one wants drip coffee. Hold on, I'm gonna sneeze.
Frankly, it tastes like shit. Bless him. He's muted.
I don't know. I think you got the first bit of that sneeze. It's very dusty.
Yeah, sometimes I hear it, but that's not what translates to the.
I was slow on the old trigger this time, though.
I find even though you have allergy problems, you have an unlimited willingness to experiment with all kinds of things that would make everybody sneeze, like different incenses, different animals in the house. It's just like it's a dander-rich environment.
Well, fuck. Dude, it's so ridiculous. So last week, I did a big cleanup of my room. I dusted everything. Already there's like a fine film of dust and hair. Like, it is like... it's unbelievable. It's like my magic show existed, but I'm only good at producing dust
and hair.
And hair. It's so fucking gross. And I have to take antihistamines every single night.
What's the law of thermodynamics about matter not being able to be created or destroyed? Or maybe that's energy. Anyway, I guess in a way they're the same thing. but you've broken that law somehow by getting that much dust and dander in your house.
Yeah, there's like the only wormhole known in the universe exists in my bedroom, and it goes to some unknown area in the Sahara Desert, or Peru, where dust is abundant and no other living thing exists.
Speaking of wormholes, how was the colonoscopy?
Oh, fuck. It was the worst. It was the worst. I mean, the whole procedure was fine. Like, I asked for opiates, of course. I didn't say, I'm an addict, can I have some?
I gotta move my microphone just a second. Moving it back into the sound barrier. There we go.
I phrased it like this: are you going to be giving me opiates? And she said, do you want some? And I said, yes, I'd really like to stop shitting now. The prep was the most awful thing. The procedure itself was like a piece of cake. And, you know, I've turned over
they do the prep partly so they can see better, so they're not looking
well,
through.
Yes. Well, that's the whole... Otherwise, they just see it's also a big liquid bog.
I think it's also a little bit so that when they decide to stick the hose up your ass, you know, you think, oh, the worst part's going to be getting the giant pipe up my ass. But you've been shitting so much that you're almost happy that the pipe is going up your ass because it means you can't shit for that period of time.
Wait, do they do it when you're awake at home?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I insisted.
You're sedated.
I insisted that I was asleep. So I had a full general anesthetic.
Oh, are you serious? Like with a breathing tube and everything? An endotracheal tube?
Yeah.
Oh, no. You don't get that here. Dad had like
they
cancer surgery through the scope, and they didn't put him to sleep.
Oh, well, they said that I was sedated, but I was anesthetized with propofol. Like,
oh, that's quite... That's more aggressive than what you get here.
Yeah, so I was like, look, I will do it, but I want to make sure that, first of all, I'm not aware of anything, and second and most importantly, that I don't remember anything. So I very well could have been talking the whole way through, but I don't remember
Listen,
any of it.
As far as I'm concerned, Saftey Third.
Well, and
there are some things, I have some conditions that you have to agree to before you scope me. Safety is not one of those conditions.
Yeah, no. I told them, they were like, okay, now do you have any concerns? Like, I think they were like, am I going to die under anesthetic? And I was like, I only want to make sure that I don't shit the bed. And they were like, oh, I mean...
It happens all the time.
It happens. There's a thing there. And I was like, well, I guess you've signed up for this. So I was like, you're going into this knowing that I'm probably going to shit the bed.
They're like, you're not going to shit the bed, but shit is going to get on the bed. It's, the violence with which it comes out of your anus can't really be described as shitting.
No, they told me that there's suction on the end of the scope, so it just kind of sucks up everything that would otherwise come out. And I was like, okay, man, whatever. Just give me the opiates. That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, and then they did this, I assume with a different scope, the upper GI at the same time.
They did that first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That would be awful. So I've never had that done, but I've had to be in the room when they're doing them a ton of times. Because sometimes we have to get a wire through the liver out into the duodenum. The duodenum. And then they have to go with a wire or the scope and catch our wire, and then they have it for access. So the noises that come out of people when you insufflate them with air and you sedate them so they can't
I woke up.
Control.
The reason I woke up in recovery is because I was farting so loud. I coughed and I was like, oh no.
Starting an outboard motor.
Yeah.
When we were Dad and I were waiting, Dad and Mom and I, when he needed his duodenal stent, we were in the room in Moncton waiting to go in, and Mom and I were he went in and Mom and I were sitting there waiting for him to come out, and they wheeled the other guy out and put him in the bed beside us, and all you could every 5 seconds you'd hear this new long, like really sonorous fart come out. And she and I were looking at each other. We weren't sure he was going to make it. The doctor had said, look, it's 50-50. I'm not sure he's going to come out of the room. It's like... So if you didn't know what you signed up for when you signed up to listen to this podcast, you sure as fuck know now.
You get what you pay for. It was an experience that I want to never do again, and will never do again, regardless of the reason.
Well, you don't have to. I mean, they didn't find anything.
I have gastritis, but there was no like weird stuff in there or anything like that.
No, weird stuff like. What kind of weird stuff?
Like polyps or,
a hamster.
Lego.
Lego. We removed 2 polyps and 3 pieces of Lego from your colon.
Yeah.
We are sending you to a psychiatrist. The yellow pieces taste the best.
Yeah, so it was a thing that happened that I'll never, ever do again. The prep was the worst. I mean, if the doctor says you have to do it, you can just do it. But what my only bit of advice would be, so the night before you have to take the prep, and then, which is awful, because then the whole night you're like, whoa. I'm
shitting.
Well, you stop, and then you're like, but it could happen any second. Then the morning of, they're like, start taking it 2 hours before you're due to go into the hospital. So I took it 3 hours because
you didn't want to cut it too close. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It just comes out of you like nothing else.
Well, it's you know what it is. It's an electrolyte solution. It's like drinking salt water, right?
It was like drinking salt water. The kids were like, "Dad, why is it making you feel so sick?" And I was like, "Well, how would you like to drink a liter of fucking pool water?"
Yeah.
It was the worst.
It pulls it not just takes itself and washes through your body. It pulls all the water from the cellular lining of your colon into your colon to shit out as well. Yeah. Now, I was worried it would make me puke if I took it.
Well, that was so close.
Oh, man.
The nighttime one was the one that I was like, oh, I was like, Aaron, I'm having trouble keeping this one down.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big drinker. Like, Aaron drinks a liter of water. Like, it's nothing. And for me, I'm like, I'm a sipper,
Yeah.
So if you're not used to drinking large volumes, and then all of a sudden you're drinking a huge volume of salt water, oh, fuck me. It was so bad.
Chrissy, when Chrissy and I got together, she had this dog named Lennox, and Lennox he was kind of a good-looking dog. He was kind of a duck-toller mix. And I took him down to the beach one day in Pugwash, and I was walking him down the beach, and I guess he's used to the freshwater he was, and then this is saltwater. So he'd be playing in the water, and I didn't notice how much of it he was drinking. And this really good-looking girl was running on the beach, and she ran past in one direction, said hi, and patted the dog. She was coming back in the other direction, and she bent down to pat the dog, and his ears went back, and I thought, oh my, is he going to bite her? And then he opened his mouth and lifted up his tail and started puking and shitting at the same time, just as she put her hand down in front of his face.
So gross.
And she jumped back like, oh my God, it's possessed. He shat everywhere. It was, So don't drink salt water. Some medical advice from your friends at the One Foot in the Grave podcast.
Yeah, there you go. Happy trails.
Unless
happy entrails.
Happy entrails to you. Oh man, so much has happened. We were because we haven't talked. I mean, we've talked, but we haven't recorded any of it. I went to Florida and went on a bike ride with Chrissy. She rented bikes one day.
Oh yeah.
And we had to bike I think we biked for about 8 hours in total. And my ass grew a second ass, just behind my ball bag. So I had 2 full sets of asses, one child size ass and one large man size ass sitting on top of it. And everywhere I walked, the little ass was rubbing together and getting quite raw.
Oh yeah.
That was
the
one.
Chafe.
It was I went to Walmart and asked for help from the pharmacist at Walmart, who gave me Boudreaux's butt paste for babies to rub on my baby-sized ass that had grown between my adult-sized ass to decrease the chafe. And I'll tell you what, worked.
Yeah?
Worked great.
Well, that's the amazing thing about putting lubrication on your chafed ass.
It wasn't lubrication, it was like a silicone. But part of the problem was compounded by the fact that I was fishing, and I knew, like, it's fucking freezing here. It's -9 tonight in Canada. Well, in this part of Canada, it's a big country. but
Nationwide.
But it's -9 here. Nationwide, it's -9. In other news,
the
-9 in Canada tonight. But I knew I wasn't going to get fishing again, so I was standing in the surf fishing like a maniac every single day with my, like, two asses rubbing together in the salt and sand. It was...
What is salt? It's not well, it is a cathartic, but it's when you if you use salt and you rub it on something, it's
an exfoliant, you mean?
An exfoliant, but it's another word. The reason I ask is because 5 years ago I was home and I was using this chapstick, and you're like, that smells good. And I said, oh, thanks. It's sea salt and caramel or something like that. And you're like, huh, sea salt. That sounds like a abrasive agent or something for your chap lips.
Abrasive agent? Yeah.
Anyway.
Maybe.
But it's been bothering me every time I use that chapstick. It's been bothering me that I can't remember the word that you used.
I'm afraid it's lost to the ages, along with a lot of the other thoughts I used to have. Are you getting stupider like me?
What?
I'm getting so fucking stupid.
I can't. You've always been stupid, though.
Maybe it's just I'm realizing just how bad it's gotten.
I think you're just coming to terms with the fact that you're actually a moron.
You were born. We had this conversation on Facebook, but like I said, Dad didn't want me to tell you, but you were born a turnip. Yeah. But, that stems from our cousin Tressa, who had Down syndrome. And so Tressa had Downs, and we weren't allowed to talk about it because her parents had never talked to her about it. And then I got this real paranoia that I also had Down syndrome, and nobody was telling me. That lasted until I was, like, done high school. It wasn't just like a young child's paranoia. It was the real
but then,
deal.
Like, you and I started, and we were like, Jake, Mom and Dad didn't want me to tell you, but you're a plum.
They made me promise I wouldn't tell you, but you're a Band-Aid.
I am? Damn it, I always knew it.
These arms are so sticky. Anyway, here's a little. I
literally almost burnt my house down. Speaking of being a fucking idiot, I literally just now.
Dander is very flammable.
Just now, I was like, "Fuck! This cobweb is huge. I'm just going to light it on fire." There's a scorch mark on my wall. Damn.
Man, the last podcast we did, I almost burned Mom's house down. Right before we had those sparklers, but they were from the dollar store, so they were really cheap. Now, it was fucking fortunate that I was the one who had that sparkler, because if a kid was holding that and molten metal dripped on his hand, he would freak out. It would be horrible.
Yeah. And, I mean, you of course remained completely calm.
I do make that noise. Nick Giffen
stomp
me for that.
Oh, don't use the water right next to you. Stomp on it. Stomp it into the wood.
Stomp it into the wood.
That's the
Chrissy makes terrible fun of me for the way I get startled, but I always do scream like that.
Oh, gee, Scoobs.
Yeah. I make that sound a lot when we're driving. Like when a deer walks out.
When we're fucking.
No, we don't do that much. I would be surprised. Oh, what's happening? Oh, right, I remember this. Yeah, no, No, we don't. We're Baptist. We don't do that stuff anymore. Yeah, no. I had other stuff. Do you remember? We talked about a whole bunch of shit. Some of it was actually quite funny, but it's all gone to me now.
Yeah, it's gone forever. Yeah. Shame.
Shit. I didn't prepare anything new because the one that I've already told you about.
Well, as soon as you start talking about it, our computers will crash.
That's true. Maybe we should just not talk about it.
Well, thanks for listening to One Foot in the Grave.
Gordon Cooper, Astronaut Encounters. Yeah, that's the one. Oh, yeah. Do you remember?
I can't listen to it again.
No, I'm just going to go through the Gordon Cooper part. I'm not going to go through all the different astronauts.
Well,
do you remember the lava tube story?
Back in 1918, they decided to start the NASA program.
It was like in the 50s or 60s.
Their rockets were made from tinfoil and gunpowder.
So, just for our listeners, a fellow went missing on Big Island in Hawaii, and the last person who saw him was his wife. He was out shearing some plant in their garden. Anyway, the police came to investigate, and they found a hole in the earth, and the guy had fallen 20 meters into a lava tube.
And they found him in China.
He came out the other side with a little pointy hat on. And,
in the rice paddies of China.
Those cartoons were so racist, and China is so advanced compared to us now. Although, I wouldn't want to live there.
I wouldn't want to beat them.
I wouldn't want to live there. I'd get diarrhea.
Oh, I don't think I could handle the crowds.
No, I can't handle the crowds
because all of China is really crowded. I mean.
It's like it's 9 degrees
even
in
the
Canada.
Farmlands.
It's crowded in China today. The good thing about China, though, is even though it's really crowded, you can still you get like the bird's eye view of the crowd because you're about 1.5 feet taller than most. That is true. They're not tall people. So when Mum went, and this was way back, 20 years ago. She went to China and. She goes to the Jade Market or whatever just to see all the touristy stuff. And she went to buy one of those Chinese robes. And they were like, okay, you need extra, extra large. And then she tried it on. It was like a child-size robe. She was like, oh, no, that's not gonna fit. And she left. And then the lady came chasing her. And she was like, Missy, no, we have extra, 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 extra large.
So because I'm in Australia, and probably they do this in Canada too, but I do a lot of shopping on eBay, and some of the clothes on eBay, it will say Asian sizes.
Oh yes, you can't buy those ones.
Yeah, so I did it once. So I made the mistake once, and I was like, I really liked this flannel shirt, and people who wear flannel are not usually tiny.
No, some of them are. Like Kurt Cobain was quite thin.
Yeah, but you can wear it and be ironic, or you can wear it because you like the fashion.
I wear it because it's like a magic eye poster, and you have to look at it weird to see the fat person behind it.
Yes,
you have to let your eyes on focus.
So, I got that, and I could not get my arm in it. I bought an extra large. I couldn't get my arm in it.
This is a good tip for you. So gym clothes can be pretty expensive, right? They're definitely not cheap. And I do buy nice shorts from the running room. Yeah. Well, I haven't in a long time, but I've got a few pairs of good ones. But the t-shirts, they're all the same, right? You just want something kind of breathable that you can work out in. So I started buying them on Amazon, but I always just buy the Amazon Picks ones because it sends you 3 t-shirts for like $14. It's a really good price. And
obviously it's been chosen by someone. Someone thought it was good.
Yeah, it's been picked. But most recently, I ordered 3 extra large gym t-shirts. And I'm like, I like them a little roomy. I don't wear tight clothes. It feels like somebody's trying to smother me anytime I wear something that touches my skin. So I look dumpy at the best of times. So extra large, I was like, oh, it should be fine. They arrived. They came to my belly button, and they were skin tight. And I put one on, and it was constricting my ability to breathe. And so I said, fuck this. So I finally ordered some that fit, and they were extra, extra, extra large, 3XL. And I'm fat, but I'm not fucking morbidly obese. Now I know I do need to lose some weight, but this was horrendous.
In any of this motorcycle gear I got a Harley. That's new.
Oh shit! Right, because we've talked about it, but not recorded it. Yeah.
What's your bike? It's a Softail?
So I've got two. Well, I've got mine, and I've got Dad's. Right?
Well, Dad's is a Road King.
Dad's is a Road King Classic, and mine is a Superglide Custom, which is a Dyna. They were called. So they don't make the Dynas anymore.
No, they make the Dynas, they don't make the Superglides. So I was thinking either I was going to get a Wide Glide next.
Yeah, that's a nice bike.
Yeah, or a Heritage.
The Heritage Softail is not as good at handling, but it is a very pretty bike.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, that's all I'm going for is aesthetics. What am I going to do?
But you got to remember they're really heavy. Those bikes, you've driven Dad's, I guess. I find like if you drive somewhere that's a lot of traffic, I'd rather drive mine because it's got foot pegs instead of those big flat footboards.
Yeah, yeah.
The reason being, when you have the footboards, you got to put your legs really wide in order to hold the bike up when you're stopped in traffic.
Yeah. No, I really like the Superglides, but they don't make them anymore.
Well, get a used one.
Well, I also now just only want ABS brakes.
I don't have any bikes with ABS. Did I tell you the story about finding out whether Dad's had ABS or not?
Well, what year is Dad's?
So his is a 2010.
Yeah.
So when he went to get it, I said, does it have ABS brakes? Because, he was trying it out. They let him rent it for the day before he bought it.
Yeah. Oh, and does it have a chain as well?
No, it's a belt. They're all belt drive.
Right. Yeah.
So I said, does it have ABS brakes? Because that'd be pretty handy. That's a pretty heavy bike. He said, I don't know. How do you test it? I said, I'll just hit the brakes really hard on the lawn and see if it clicks or if it just slides. So I got a running start from Hans's house on his bike before he bought it, and slammed on the brakes as hard as I could and crashed the bike and went ass over tea kettle across his lawn with the bike going da-dunk, 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 like flipping from one side to the other down his lawn. And then I bent the front rotor. When we took it back, they made him buy it. We're like, geez, what happened to the bike? Dad said, I don't know. What did happen?
For the listeners, to see if it has ABS or not,
just look for the sign that says ABS.
A little light shines that says ABS.
I've never driven a bike with ABS.
Well, it's just like riding a bike without it, except when you need it.
When a panic stop
it's different, yeah.
So I crashed my bike later.
And also, I don't mind braking going through corners so much because I'm not so worried that it's going to lock it up or anything.
Yeah, yeah. We went to, there's a vineyard on Kingston Peninsula owned by Tony R., who lived down the road from us when we were kids, and his daughter Brittany R.
Oh, yeah.
So we went down, I followed Dad. He wanted to see the vineyard, so we drove across to the peninsula when he had his bike and I was on mine. And we did a wine tasting there. But I didn't realize that they also make mead, and I didn't realize that mead is like, the stuff they're making is like 40% alcohol. I thought it was like beer, right? Just with honey instead of... But theirs is like liquor. And they were pouring us shots of it for the taste tester. Because I'd never had mead. I was like, oh yeah, I'll try the mead. So I think a guy gave me like 4 shots of liquor, and I was on a motorcycle, and I wasn't really thinking of it. And then I went to go out, and we were leaving the parking lot. It was all gravel. And Dad was ahead of me, and he took off. And a car pulled out in front of me, and I hit my front brake. Don't hit your front brake on gravel. The bike washed out and landed on me, and it landed on my foot in such a way that it broke the gear lever off, and punched a hole in my boot. And the little stump of sharp gear lever remnant went between my foot and the sole of the boot. It just missed my like.
Well, it's really funny because like you and Dad, like I don't know, you wear a leather jacket. But you just wear normal jeans, normal boots, I don't even know.
I
if you
used to wear
gloves.
armored jeans. I always wear gloves. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've fallen off my bike too many times not to wear gloves. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like to think myself as a cool dude.
Safety Third.
But I got
That could be the name of this episode. Safety Third.
A fluorescent yellow helmet.
Oh my god.
Well, it's black, but like it's pretty bright. It's got some
accents.
Yeah. So yellow helmet. Then like I've got 3 armored jackets. So it's got like a spine protector, elbow protector. It's made of Kevlar, and it's got shoulder protectors in it. And then Kevlar jeans that have got armor in them, and then Kevlar boots that have got armor in them. I am not looking so cool. I look like Grandma Dan coming down the road.
Well, you want to be safe. It's all fun and games until you're quadriplegic and you're eating through a straw.
Yeah.
Although we lose a ton of weight.
Just from the muscle atrophy alone.
Just the muscle atrophy, that's right. You know what? If I were quadriplegic, I would gain a ton of weight. Even if I had to just eat through a G-tube, I'd just be like sneaking down to the kitchen to grab more feeds.
But who gives a shit? Because like if your wife stays with you through that, she doesn't care if you're fat.
Yeah, but the more you eat, the more she has to change your little adult diaper.
Oh my lord.
You ever think about that?
Well, no. It's not one of my fantasies. You fucking weirdo.
Hey, tonight let's pretend I'm a quad.
Did you bring the curry home?
I think you better change my pants.
Well, I drank some of that colon prep just for you.
Left a surprise in those jeans for you.
Yeah, they're wet,
oh,
but
God,
not with my urine.
This is extremely offensive. Oh my God, you're as wet as my chin. Sorry. That was fucking awful. That's not, and that it doesn't even make sense because quadriplegic people don't have cerebral palsy. It was just a weird.
Well, and
thought.
Also they wouldn't be able to feel her vagina to see if it was wet.
That's true. It was a weird and inappropriate thought, and I apologize to everyone for that. I don't know where I was going with it. I'm going to blame the media, society in general. I feel like I'm having a major backlash against PC culture since they asked for a gender-neutral Santa Claus.
What? What's his name or her name or its
there's
name?
There's a movement now afoot to modernize Santa Claus by making him gender-neutral. And I said, what the fuck? It's modernized. There are still men in the world. I'm not going to chop my dick off to be a modern man, you fucking idiots.
Fuck that.
But 35% of
right
respondents wanted that to happen.
Well, here there was a whole thing back a couple years ago, and they wanted them to say "ha ha
gender-neutral
ha"
Jesus instead of "ho ho ho."
Yeah,
because ho 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 means nicely barbecued in Cantonese. No, that's look ho ho.
No, that is Alfredo Weinstein and ho.
They think ho is offensive, you mean?
Yeah. And they were going to make him say, ha ha ha! Merry Christmas!
The worst country for all this social justice bullshit is New Zealand. I don't know how you can be so close to there without going insane. But every day there's something on the news about like, oh, today's going to be Transgendered Rights Day in New Zealand. Today's going to be whatever. And you just go, what the fuck? Just live and let live. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's really tiny though. Like you can drive from one end of New Zealand to the other in less than a day. So it would be like being stuck in St. John forever. And what are you going to do? You're going to make a day. Make it a day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's like PEI, Prince Edward Island.
Yeah.
If Prince Edward
today's
Island won.
Anne of Green Gables Day. And then
whatever you want.
Friar Tuck Day.
Yeah.
And
you do
Cavendish. It's Cavendish Farms Day.
Pepperidge Farms.
Apples. Potatoes.
Do you remember when there were only two genders? Pepperidge Farms remembers.
So what would Santa's name be as a general neutral?
Well, in fairness, I don't know any male Santas or female Santas, so maybe they would just stick with Santa.
And then what's he's got Mrs. Claus, is that
That's
Clausy,
yeah,
the Claus.
I guess she could be lesbian.
Maybe
Lesbian
she's
Santa.
dead. They're just going to rewrite the story. She's toast.
She died in a reindeer accident.
Yeah.
That's a very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Donder has a criminal record.
Yeah. I mean,
Blitzen was abused by his father. It's
it was a whole thing.
a modernized,
It's very
sad version.
Yeah. Rudolph carried her on his antlers to the hospital, but it was too late. He had already pierced her with his antlers.
That's right. The antler.
She was only unconscious until he tried to step in.
Maybe Santa will be married to Greta Thunberg. in this version of events. The people's heroes.
And then, the Grinch is now the plastic straw.
the Grinch is a real scientist who dares to speak up against the bullshit.
Yes. Vaccines are good. It's the Grinch.
The Grinch.
Don't listen to his rubbish.
Don't listen to science. Listen to narrative.
Oh, little Cindy Lou Who. Just sit there and we're going to mind your smallpox.
Yeah. Jumping gender neutral Jesus will be next.
Oh my goodness.
We know he was trans. He had long hair. I don't know where this is going. This is maybe our most offensive episode. And that's saying something, because this is a terrible podcast.
No. Oh, look, another cobweb. Okay, wish me luck. Oh! Oh! That was good. I got the spider.
When we were younger, I used to have, I had a little bit of a pyro streak in me. And I used to fluff up my jeans and then burn the fluff with the lighter. Until one day I burned the fluff and it burned right through and burned my leg hair into little balls that stuck to the skin.
Yeah, well, I think we've all been there.
Yeah. I've taken everything you can do. I do it too far. I do it too much until it has consequences.
Is that the train?
No, you mean the train, like the heat pump unit?
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's our heat pump. We had a nice train unit that was kind of quiet but very old and not very effective, and it kicked the bucket. We actually hired a guy to come fix it, and I should have known because he kind of had wandering eyes, like one blue east, one blue west kind of thing.
Old blue eyes.
Old blue eyes. And he said, "Oh, you just need another compressor. I'm just going to fix it." And he put it in, and within 2 days, smoke was coming out of the thing, and it had all collapsed in pieces. So then, after he completely destroyed it, what he did, he changed the refrigerant, but he put in the wrong kind.
Oh, unlucky.
So when he did that and blew the machine apart, we had to replace it. It was $13,000. I was thrilled. Yeah, the repair would have been $400, but we went with the cheaper option.
That is unlucky. Well, I was going through Dad's old Facebook posts, and he must have gone and looked at that house for you before you must have been living in Halifax or something at the time.
Vancouver. We were in Vancouver.
Yeah, because it was like back in the day when Facebook was new and people didn't realize that it went to everyone. Like, it was like a completely public forum.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So if you want to find out where I live, just check my father's Facebook feed.
Yeah, that's right. In hindsight, I don't know if it has the address on there.
Very well, good.
But yeah, it's like photos of every nook and cranny of your house.
It was a strange, if you want to kidnap a kid from this house, this is how I would do it. Why did you post that, Dad?
Did you keep the tiles on the back of the stairs, or is that?
We didn't change. I mean, very little. We just changed wallpaper. We took off the wallpaper and changed the colors in the house, and then recently painted the kitchen because we had a giant scratch in one of the doors, and I said, "Oh, fuck it, I'm not changing out the cabinets. So we painted everything white.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just been maintenance, and that has prevented me from saving any money. So any future homeowners out there, don't do it.
The only thing that we did was paint and put a pool in.
Yeah. Oh, our pool collapsed last year, so we had to put a pool in. It's been quite an expensive experiment.
Home ownership, such
not
fun.
worth it. Yeah.
Well, it's better than paying someone else to have property.
Well, you say that, but I am paying someone else. I'm paying the bank, and I'm also paying all the repair people. It's like a never-ending series. It's never really yours. I own about a third of it now. And,
wait, how much longer have you got until you pay it off?
A mere 11 years.
Me too. 11 years. That's how long until, and then we'll have relative financial freedom, assuming that I can.
But
keep
no,
a
then
job.
your house, then more stuff breaks, and then you got to borrow more money to pay for the stuff that breaks.
Nah,
it's a never-ending cycle.
Wait, just don't fix it. That's the thing. You just don't fix it.
I know. That's what Mom and Dad did while Dad was alive. But then when he died, Mom had they owned 3 properties because he inherited his mother's house, and then they had built a cottage, and they lived in a house, and all 3 of them flooded in the same within a week of each other.
Yeah, that was pretty unlucky.
That was biblical.
Now, tell me about your stupid astronaut.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I can tell the story. Astronaut, space, aliens.
I'm just going to skip right ahead. I talked about the Gemini program, the Mercury program, all the astronaut encounters. I was excited because I was in Florida. We were supposed to record this when we were in... Oh, I hear the spooky haunting sound of Dan's yak brewing.
My yak.
Yeah. But anyway, so I was talking about all the different astronaut encounters with aliens, but there is, they've all been basically debunked. The coolest one I thought was the flashes of light that they see that they figured out was like the cosmic radiation hitting your retina and causing it to flash. And that got me thinking, like, obviously other people smarter than me have thought of this, but couldn't you use that cosmic radiation to explore the cosmos? Is there like a never-ending energy source out there? I thought that was cool. Anyway, the real thrust of this is Gordon Cooper. He was one of those original Mercury astronauts, and he was also the Gemini astronaut who spent 8 days in space, proving that you could survive a trip to the moon and back. He was kind of a cool guy. He, well, not cool. He was kind of a jackwagon, but he was very funny. He was a serial philanderer and had been kicked out of his house and then lied about his family situation when NASA approached him, because at first they only approached test pilots, so they wanted the best of the best, and they wanted everyone to be like the perfect American male specimen, right? So he lied about his family situation and got his wife on board, and she lied too, and they moved back in together and pretended to love one another just to like be in the newspapers and get into the space program, and it's kind of an ego thing. So that big mission that he did launched on May 15th, 1963 in a capsule called Faith 7. I inhaled
like that phlegm went like again. Deep.
It was my tongue. That was actually my tongue. My whole tongue went in.
I had a little seizure.
In a way, it's reassuring, because I think, like, if I'm sick enough to pass out, my tongue will just occlude my airway and I'll die, and then it'll all be over. I know that because
it's reassuring, because if something minor happens, it will turn into a bigger issue.
Yeah. What I'm really hoping for is like total brain death and not partial brain death, because then I'll get my comeuppance for making that chin joke earlier.
Well, what I've made Aaron promise me is that they can have my organs, but they have to give me a full GA as if I can feel.
Yeah. I said the same to Chrissy. That's funny. We've grown up in the same environment. Nurture over nature.
The one where we know how cheap our government is. No, love, he can't feel anything.
He can't feel anything. I would assume that he can feel some things. Just why don't you just give him the anesthetic?
No, it's far too expensive. we'll just chance it.
Yeah. There's no time for precision instruments. Get me the hedge trimmer.
Oh yeah, he's donating his hair as well.
It's okay, doctor. You don't need to shave his pubes. He's not going to survive the surgery. Anyway, so when he went up in the Faith 7 capsule, he spent more time in space than all the other previous astronauts combined, Gordon Cooper. 34 hours, 19 minutes, and 49 seconds.
No, that doesn't seem very long.
Well, at that point, they were just, oh, sorry, this wasn't the 8-day mission. This was the first long mission in space. So during the 19th orbit, this was what I like about this guy. The 19th orbit, the power in the capsule failed, and CO2 levels started climbing, and not just in the capsule, but in the suit he was wearing.
And he passed out, but thankfully his tongue occluded his airway, and he
died. His airway, and he died instantly. The temperature, just imagine you're in this tiny capsule. You can hardly see anything. The temperature increased to 130 degrees Fahrenheit. The clock and then the gyroscopes failed. The radio was connected directly to the battery, so he could continue to communicate with NASA. And until then, all flights had been designed for fully automatic control, so they felt like, they used to say the astronauts were spam in a can because they didn't actually fly anything. They just went up in this thing and then came back in it, and it was all automated. But he had to take the stick and fly this thing himself. So he used his understanding of star patterns to direct the little capsule with the right yaw and pitch for re-entry, and used his wristwatch for time. He drew reference lines on the capsule window to maintain his orientation, fired the retro rockets at exactly the right time, and splashed down 4 miles from the carrier that was waiting to pick him up. That's pretty impressive. I mean,
it's pretty badass. I mean, I can't...
He was a good choice.
I cannot navigate my way home 10 kilometers away from my house.
Do you remember the story we did about the guy in Spain who got lost and then entered another dimension where there were like different buildings and radio? I honestly had a moment the other day where I was driving home from Shediac, and I went, where the fuck am I? I've never been here before. I was on the highway. I took the highway home, but I thought I'd gone the old road. I must have been really tired, and I looked around on the highway, and I was seeing all these like signs that I wasn't familiar with, and I was like, "Holy shit! Did it happen to me too?" And then I saw St. John Fredericton next, right? Oh, fuck!
Damn.
Great.
Damn, I'm just stupid.
I just didn't know which highway I was on. I thought I'd already gotten on the one home, and I was on the one out of Moncton. Anyway,
Alice asked me the other day, like, can you fall asleep with your eyes open? And I was like, well, people can fall asleep anywhere. Some people fall asleep while they're driving. And she was like, what? And still talk to people? So she didn't understand that you can drive in a car by yourself, which is weird.
Yeah.
But I was like, no. Like, if you're talking to someone, it's usually okay. But,
oh, no, dear. That's really stupid.
But then I was like, Uncle Jake was driving home from the cottage when I was home. And they were turned off to go to Tim Hortons, and he said, oh, I guess we're going to Tim Hortons. And then he said, oh, no, it's me. I'm driving.
That's I did do that.
He fell asleep.
What the fuck is this we? It's only me.
Yeah. But me? No. Me.
Oh my gosh.
I'm driving.
I used to come home. I was always homesick when I was away. I know you're in Australia. You must not have this like weakness. But any time that I was away from St. John, when Mom and Dad were here, I was homesick, like just a little bit, but not, enough that it kind of made me make some bad decisions. So one time I was in college, and I had our grandmother's Dodge Lancer. Remember the brown Dodge Lancer?
Yeah.
And you couldn't drive it in the rain because it had a cracked distributor cap. I mean, I could have gotten it fixed, but I didn't have any money, so I didn't get it fixed.
Well, not only that, but you couldn't stop it with the brake. You had to use the emergency brake.
Yeah, that's right. I used the emergency brake for 2 years.
Which was not like a pull brake. It was a foot brake. So you had to grab...
You had to come to a complete stop.
Yeah, you had to pull on the on the brake release and put your foot down on the emergency brake or the parking brake in order to stop at a stoplight.
It's true.
Oh my God. It was fucked.
Oh my God. That's so funny. I forgot about that.
I can't believe Mom and Dad let me drive that.
Yeah, I drove it for 2 years like that. We never fixed the brakes.
They probably didn't know.
No, I think they knew. Anyway, so I wanted to come home, but it was pouring rain, and I was so disappointed. And it was Friday night, and the rain stopped at like 11:30 at night. And I was like, okay. I was in Halifax. I said it's a 4.5 hour drive. I can probably do it. So I got in the car. I was so tired. I'd been like watching movies. I didn't like get a nap or anything. I just stayed up and watched TV, eating chips, getting fatter. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to do this drive. So I cooked 2 microwave dinners, and I was like, oh, these will keep me asleep. Hungry man microwave dinners. These will keep me awake.
There's the problem. It was all about the mindset going into it.
One was meatloaf and one was Salisbury steak. And I ate them within 10 minutes before I even got to the bridge. Getting out of Halifax, I'd eaten these 2 big suppers.
Wait, you ate them in the car while driving?
Yes.
Shit.
With a plastic fork. I didn't even I just folded the meat and stuffed it in my face. I was like, oh man, well that didn't last. So I got about as far as what's it called? Fall River, which is about a third of the way between Halifax and Truro, Truro is a quarter of the way home. And then I don't know what happened, but I woke up and the car was out of gas and I was in the driveway at home.
Oh my gosh.
I slept the night in the driveway. I don't remember driving home. It was so fucking stupid.
So then the next morning I woke up and washed the blood off the front of the car and pushed the dents out and just kept on living life.
Just threw out the spine that was attached to my car. I found oh my God. I also used to sleepwalk quite a bit, because I'd get so tired. I think it had to do with staying up too late. But when I was in residence, I one time sleptwalked through the residence with just my underpants on to go to I went to the bathroom or something, but I never even thought of it. And other people were awake having parties, and I just wandered out in my underwear and went to the bathroom and then went back to bed like some kind of fucking child in the middle of their residence. Because I was like, oh, I'm not a party animal. I'm not going to go to the party. I went to bed at 8:30 or something. But then the other time was I was at home and I had a motorcycle at home, a Suzuki Madura 1200. It was a big bike, and I don't remember this at all, but I apparently went out and started the bike and revved the engine in the driveway for a while, and then drove it up to Colleen Mitchell's house at the top of the hill by Mom and Dad's house and parked it, and then walked home and threw the keys on the ground and went back to bed.
So bizarre. You did it was scary living in the same house as you, because if you weren't walking around, you were screaming as if something was attacking you, but not just something, an evil entity was possessing you. And then I was like, that's pretty bad. And then we had kids, and Alice was maybe 4, and I was going to bed. I turned off all the lights, and I heard something in her room, and I was like, I'll just go make sure that she's comfortable and that she's okay. And she wasn't in her bed, and I was like, what the fuck? Where did she go? And I looked around, and I looked under her bed, and I raced out, and I was like, Erin. And then I went back in, and behind the door, Alice was standing with her housecoat over her head, just staring into the corner.
That's so fucked up.
Not moving or anything. I was just like, I would made Aaron look after it. I was like, what the fuck? No.
Well, Jack has these night terrors like that where he gets really, really sweaty and panicked. But I think I must have had them too.
Yeah, 100%.
So Chrissy and I, we we had just started dating. Like, she and I got together one time. She had a boyfriend. I was kind of had a girlfriend at the time, and then, you know, we just had been friends. And then we had a date, and she came over to Mom's house, and as you know, there was an apartment in the basement in which you lived for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But we watched a movie downstairs, made out a little bit on the couch, and then set up the futon. We slept on the futon. In the middle of the night, I had a night terror that I was on the train tracks and the train was bearing down on me. And I pushed her out of the bed and trampled her and ran upstairs. and then the first day we moved in together, she had Lennox, the dog, and she moved to Halifax to come live with me. And we didn't have the bed set up. Nothing was... She hated the bed that I had, and so we just had, the futon. And we were sleeping on the futon in Halifax, and Lennox walked into the room, and I thought I'd left the door open and a fox had gotten in, and I threw Chrissy out of the bed at the dog to save myself.
The bravery.
I was like, I just shoved her. I was like, oh my God! I don't think I knew it was a person. I thought it was just a pile of blankets, but I just wanted something between me and the wild fox that had gotten into the house.
Yeah, the wild foxes that cats are able to scare off.
Oh, man. Fuck's sake. I don't know what I was thinking. I've had some weird ones. When I was in Florida, there was a guy out in the waves with his little kid, with his little boy. The boy was probably 2 years old. And they were out splashing around in the waves, and a pod of dolphins came by, and the fin came out of the water, and he threw the kid into the water and ran. He just hoofed it for the beach, going, shark in the water. And I was like, your kid can't swim. The mother was so
Chum was his
mad.
name. He was a lovely little chum.
He'd always been such a good chum. Oh, shit.
My favorite weird, scary nighttime thing for you was when we were at the old cottage, which was infested by mice.
Oh, yeah.
And you woke up screaming, and we were like, oh, Jake, shut up. And he was like, the mouse, it spat at me. And we were like, Jake, shut the fuck up, you fucking dick. And we turned on the lights to show you that there was no mouse, and you were covered in seeds. Chewed up mouse seeds. You must have hit the mouse, and it spat all of its little seeds at you.
Well, I think I squished all its organs. Like I thought I was dreaming it, and I woke up and this mouse was crawling up my bed by my face. So I smashed it against the wall, and it spat. And I was like, what? The mouse was spitting on me, guys.
Whatever. Fuck you, Jake. What the fuck? You're waking everybody up. Shut up.
I've always been manly like that. Oh, my God. I just went to the cottage. I hadn't started the generator, and I've been having nightmares about Dad. You know, those visitation dreams.
Yeah,
I keep having a dream that I'm
generator.
Well, that's what... Jeez, your voice sounds exactly like his in the dream. Start the generator. He's really mad at me for not getting it going. So I went and I had to buy carb cleaner and take the air filter off, and it was... I did some manly stuff today. It was pretty...
Yeah. Did you break a nail?
No, but I did get the generator started, and I degunked a carburetor.
Does it have an electric start?
I also managed to turn the gas off and take the battery out of the motorcycle you'd been driving.
Oh, yay. What is that? What kind of bike is that?
That is a Yamaha TTR 225.
TTR 225. That's what I'm going to get here.
It is the greatest off-road bike. Don't let them tell you that you need something fast. You definitely don't.
Yeah.
You need something that you don't have to change the oil on.
Yeah.
It is like a tank. That thing.
TTR 225, yeah, or TTR 400 or whatever.
I got it for $700, and
they're like $8,000 here.
Fucking amazing bike. Yeah.
Well, you should just buy me one for Christmas and send it over.
You could probably buy the parts for it cheaper and just build it yourself, because there are online sites that just sell motorcycle parts. Right, the engine is only like $300.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
That's too much work.
Yeah,
Although every time I think of you, I think of your garage with the floor fan mounted, including the entire stock of the fan mounted on the ceiling of the garage. I think it's so funny.
The Aussie air conditioner. I'm not. That would be the point where this hobby of mine turns into something that I hate. It's like the Gibson guitar that Dad is building in the basement still.
Yeah, the Martin. Yeah. We could save a lot of money just by building the guitar ourselves. It's a lot of work to build an acoustic guitar, Dad. It's like you need templates and blocks. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, the wind.
I hear it howling.
That? Yeah.
Here, let me finish the story before you lose your power.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this guy landed his thing. It was pretty impressive. And Gordon Cooper. And then he actually got interviewed by a newspaper and complained about the pay at NASA, so that he got grounded for a long time.
Oh, jeez.
But he had some UFO experience. So he claimed to have seen his first UFO while flying over West Germany in 1951. Although he denied reports he had seen a UFO during the Mercury flight. On May 3rd, 1957, when Cooper was at Edwards Air Force Base, he had a crew set up an Scania syntheodolite precision landing system on a dry lake bed. That's everyone's favorite precision lake landing system. Yeah. The theodolite system could take pictures at 1 frame per second as an aircraft landed. So it was obviously like the cine is like movies. It took movie pictures.
Oh.
Did we talk about this and be like, it's funny that they call it the movies because the pictures are moving? And like it's our old 1920s term that we still use.
No,
we're going to see the movies where they move.
Yeah, the pictures move.
Oh, next week we're going to see the talkies.
Yeah.
I hear you can actually hear the voices. Anyway, the crew consisted of James Biddick and Jack Geddes, who began work at the site just before 8 a.m. with both still and motion picture cameras. According to Cooper's accounts, when they returned later that morning, they reported that they had seen a strange-looking saucer-like aircraft that did not make a sound, either on landing or on takeoff. Cooper recalled that these men, who saw experimental aircraft on a regular basis as part of their job, were clearly unnerved. They explained how the saucer hovered over them and landed 50 yards away using 3 extended landing gears and then took off as they approached for a closer look. He called a special Pentagon number to report such incidents and was instructed to have their film
1-800 scary UFO sighting.
Yeah, that's the number. They told him to develop the film but make no prints and send it to the Pentagon right away in a locked courier pouch. Cooper had not been instructed not to look at the negatives before sending them, and he did. He claimed that the quality of the photography was excellent, and he saw exactly what Biddick and Geddes had described. He expected that there would be a follow-up investigation since an aircraft of unknown origin had landed at a classified military installation, but he never heard about the incident again. He was never able to track down what had happened to those photos and assumed they ended up going to the Air Force's official UFO investigation called Project Blue Book, which was based at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. He claimed until his death that the U.S. government was indeed covering up information about UFOs. He pointed out that there were hundreds of reports made by his fellow pilots, many coming from these military jet pilots, sent to respond to radar or visual sightings. In his memoirs, Cooper wrote he had seen unexplained aircraft several times during his career and that hundreds of reports had been made. I'm seeing reference numbers as I'm reading this, so just assume I've plagiarized this from somewhere else. In 1978, he testified before the UN on the topic. Later in his life, he repeatedly expressed in interviews that he had seen UFOs and described his recollections for the 2002 documentary Out of the Blue. Reference 42. So that looks like a Wikipedia article that I just kind of copied and pasted. So apologies to Wikipedia.
You know how I think of this? What is it? Solar flares or whatever, that the solar radiation that you can.
The cosmic radiation.
Cosmic radiation. Yeah. So I kind of think it's kind of akin to when you're using your mobile phone and you're on this, like on a podcast or whatever, and you can hear it go beep, but for your eyes.
Yeah, you're picking up interference.
Yeah. So I just thought I'd share that little tidbit.
Here's a nice tidbit for you. There's an interesting... so outside our solar system, where the magnetosphere meets a cosmic radiation wave, there's this plasma that apparently it's like 40,000 degrees Celsius. And there was a big debate recently on... I follow some of these geeky NASA channels. There was a big debate recently about whether that's a barrier that we can go through or not. But I guess the thing of it is, the particles are 40,000 degrees Celsius, but they're really far apart from one another. So it's probably nothing to worry about. So there you go.
They call it no touchium.
Now, do you think, how long do you think it'll be before, or do you think the human race will ever explore the cosmos?
Well, I think they've tried, but I don't think it will never happen.
I don't think it's going to happen, not because we couldn't technologically or technically do it. I think it's not going to happen because political correctness is going to keep us from doing it.
Well, no, I think it's because no one will front the money for it. They're like, look, we're going to put $20 trillion into, just exploring the outer crust of our galaxy. And then they're like, but what about the starving children and all the people in the world that are dying? And they'll be
yeah.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. They're like, okay, we're destroying the Earth. The Earth is dying. Well, let's get on it. Let's find a new Earth.
Yeah.
I think there are two possibilities. We could go like H.G. Wells in the Time Machine and have like the Morlocks and whatever the other ones were called, and have two completely different, like human versus human 2.0, where the whole group of us just say, okay, well, we're not going to do political correct bullshit. We're just going to work on getting to another planet. Everybody else can bicker. Because imagine if Kennedy now was like, we're going to send a man to the moon. It would be like instant Twitter explosion. Why does it have to be a man? That's so sexist. His political career is over. Then nothing ever gets done. Yeah. Cancel culture. You can't cancel going to space, for fuck's sake.
But I guess political correctness has saved us from a lot of bad stuff, like racism.
I don't think political correctness has. I think just being nicer people has. We've made progress.
Well, I know, but that's only because we saw the humanity in other people, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's a big difference between seeing the humanity in other people and canceling Don Cherry because he told people to wear a poppy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, exactly. Exactly.
What do you mean you people should buy a poppy? Who cares what he means? You should buy a poppy.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's just gone too far. But
yeah,
I think there was a time where it needed to happen. And
there was a time when people thought, like white people, the Nazis thought that white people were a supreme race. And then... But then,
well, I mean, that political
the
correctness
CT
was
scanner.
not... That was the wrong political correctness.
And then the CT scanner is invented, and when you look at a CT scan, you can't tell if the person's white or black or Chinese, although Chinese ones have fewer images, obviously. Because
they're short.
Other than that.
Well, on that note, we're running long.
Well, we had to make up for the two we deleted. And again, apologies to those easily offended about the terrible jokes I made earlier.
Yeah, feel free to not listen again.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Don't look up who I am. If you're angry, don't cancel me. I'm very tired. Our dad died a year ago this week. It's been... Jeez. Give us a goddamn
for the sympathy
break.
vote. You can only play that card once, and you used it because you may have said something possibly offensive to somebody. Yeah. Mine is going to be once I kill someone, I'll be like, look, I mean, it's been a year since Dad died.
It's been a tough year.
I mean, he had it coming.
He did. He didn't have it coming. Oh, the victim. I thought you meant Dad. He was a sweet man.
No, not my father. Not my father. The guy that I've theoretically killed.
The guy that I backed over with my car 3 times.
Yes. I was distracted because I'm having a rough time. Meanwhile, Jake's like, I may have said something on the podcast that no one listens to.
You don't understand. I'd easily lose my job because of this podcast. But it's our only way of staying in touch. It actually makes us do it. So we could do a phone call, but that's not nearly as fun.
No.
what was? Oh fuck! I was. What do you remember way back when we did an episode about the mystery guy? I know we got to end this podcast. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, Guy LaRoche.
No, the guy in the room, in room 309 or whatever. I can't remember what I called the story.
Oh yeah. And the
he's like in Wichita or
going
something.
In.
Yeah. They kept going in, and they found him like strangled with a phone cord.
Yeah, and he was like,
said,
"Oh,
no, I'm fine."
Yeah.
He looked comfortable.
Yeah.
So on the last True Crime Garage episode that I've listened to was called Apartment or Room 309. I thought it was going to be covering the same story.
Yeah.
I was like, guys, this is going to be great. We can listen to this in the car and not bicker and argue all the way home from Shediac. So I put it on, and the very first thing in it is about a gay sex orgy. Jack was like, I don't understand any of this. I said, I'm sorry. We'll put on your music.
Well, last night, so I keep like putting on these shows that I think are going to be wholesome, and then they're not. So
and then
last
they're
night,
pornos.
I sat the kids down, and we were watching a show on Netflix called Let It Snow, and I thought it was going to be like a family Christmas time is coming show.
Yeah.
And Erin was getting dinner, and she came to sit down just as the guy looked down and started pulling at his nipple hair, and it like went up really up close to his nip, and it like showed the little dink doink doink of the nipple hair, and Erin goes, "What is this rated?" And I was like, "I don't know. I thought it was on like the fan. No, it was M for mature audiences." It's like, fuck.
Oh, at least he wasn't jerking off.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I turned it off. It may have turned into something really bad.
It's called The World's Greatest Snow Job.
The snow job.
The Snow Job.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Go to onefootinthegrave.weebly.podcast.weebly.com to find all the links to social media and to send us your stories, whatever they are, weird, wonderful, scary. We'll read them all and not do them justice on the show.
Yeah, Lisa, I apologize again. I did a shitty job of your story, but send us some updates. Tell us how things are going.
Wait, I thought I did a terrible job of her story.
I know, but I ruined it. I kept interjecting. It was, in fairness, it was a long story. Fuck, there are only 3 of us listening to it. She might as well get her say.
All right. Thanks, homies. Bye.
Oh, wait, before you go.
Oh, wait, what?
You know what was fun? I don't know. Do you start work now, or are you still off for a bit?
I'm still off for like 5 weeks.
Holy shit, you should come home. I guess it's Christmas with the kids. You can't really.
Yeah, and Mom gets here in 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Dang. Yeah, I'm going to be here alone. Shit. Oh, no.
Well, why don't you come?
Here. I still have a family.
Why don't you guys come? We'll rent dirt bikes and go have fun times.
That would be fun, except I still have a job I have to do here.
Yeah.
I could quit that, though. I could be like, just to, I'm not going to give you the notice. I'm just out of here.
Well, I mean,
Fuck y'all.
It wouldn't be the first time the family's done it.
Yeah. I said, Mom was like, oh, you need to get to Australia. I said, oh, I'll definitely go when Dan changes jobs again. What I was going to say, though, is since you're off, man, I really enjoy when you do those Twitter movie watches.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit, because I just watched the chapter 2.
At True Crime Bros. At True Crime Bros on... yeah, did you watch it because I bought it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I lost my place in it. I was wondering how that happened.
Yeah, twice. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I don't find that movie very scary.
Not at all.
The only thing is the jump scares. But now, having said that, I've read the book twice. I didn't find the book very scary either. Quite cheesy. Again, one of those ones where I think he was doing a lot of cocaine when he wrote that book.
Like there's nothing to fear but fear itself. That was the theme.
Yeah, and I know, when they go to the restaurant and all the things climb out of the fortune cookies.
Yeah.
I remember that part in the book. And I was just like, this is stupid.
Well, I didn't read the book, but I watched that, and I was like...
But you love the characters. Like, I love his settings, right? Derry, Maine. Like, you feel like you're really there.
Yeah.
And you love those characters.
He's painted the picture very well. It's just the story.
Just the story is ridiculous.
Yeah. Is Christine any good?
The book?
The show.
I didn't even know it was a show. So when I was a kid, I think it was in high school, maybe grade 10, I read Christine. It was the first Stephen King book I read, and it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And then I read it again recently, maybe 3 years ago, just before Dad got sick. And I thought it was so cheesy. It didn't scare me at all.
Yeah.
So
it's funny how
yeah.
adulthood will do that.
Yeah. It's funny the things you're afraid of when you're a kid. Anyway, so maybe we'll do if you find one you want me to get for you, just tell me and I'll buy it on iTunes.
Oh, well, I'll just buy it on iTunes on your account.
Yeah, you can do that too. Let me know, and we're at True Crime Bros on. Well,
I want to
Twitter.
See.
You're the only one I think who can post on at True Crime Bros.
There's
I won't
one.
give you my Twitter
it's called
profile
Brightburn. Have you seen that?
I heard it's okay. I think it's about like evil Superman or something.
Yeah, I want to see that. So
yeah, I watched the cinema sins of it. It looked.
Oh, for heaven's sakes!
Okay.
Yeah,
but you watching the movies and me seeing you tweet about them is just as good as me watching cinema sins. You're quite good at tweeting.
All right. Well, I'll do that for Brightburn.
Cool. All right.
We'll see. All right. Have fun, y'all. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
You're supposed to say bye.
Bye.